Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Prime 5 with me, Raisha Sehgal. Now, every year, Delhi's post-Diwali morning looks extremely similar. Skyline hidden under a blanket of grey, streets lined up with cracker debris, and air so heavy that stepping outside feels like inhaling smoke. Well, that's our top focus on Prime 5, how Delhi chokes post-Diwali. We'll get you all the details on that, but first, the headlines. Delhi air quality dips to very poor day after Diwali. Delhi government blames Punjab for pollution. AAP says BJP is hiding pollution data. Karnataka Chief Minister's own advisor claims sand mafia scam in the state, says 100 to 150 sand trucks being illegally transported daily. BJP attacks Sarkara, says scam worth rupees 400 crore exposed. AIADMK slams Stalin's government as Google's AI hub went to Andhra and North Tamil Nadu despite Sundar Pichai being a Tamilian. India's anti-corruption watchdog puts out tender for 7 new BMW cars. Each BMW costs rupees 70 lakhs. Outrage over Lokpal's luxury car splurge. Controversy surrounds the wedding of Khomenei's close aide's daughter. Bride seen wearing a strapless wedding gown. Critics accuse the regime of hypocrisy over its hijab diktat. All right, Delhi woke up to a thick layer of smog and ultra-fine pollutants. This is the morning after Diwali, that's today, and the air is hazy, heavy after fireworks lit up the sky on Diwali night. The national capital recorded the air quality index at 350, that's at 8 a.m. IST. Last night, out of 38 monitoring stations, 36 were marked in the red zone, while 4 recorded severe pollution levels with AQI readings above 400. The Supreme Court had allowed the sale and use of green crackers on Diwali this year, last week, which was when it was announced, and that's in an attempt rather to strike a balance between interests of the industry and public health. Well, but the ongoing situation gives us rather a different picture. Let's now rather tell you the most polluted areas in Delhi right now after the Diwali celebrations yesterday. Number 1 is Connaught Place. Now, Connaught Place has an AQI of 1,214, and this is clearly in the hazardous level. The second area is Defence Colony with AQI at 1,027. Then we move towards North Delhi. Civil Lines is also one of the most polluted areas in Delhi with AQI at 738. Then Ashok Vihar Phase 1, AQI at 569. Not just that, Ashok Vihar Phase 2 has an AQI of 570. Alaknanda has an AQI of 439. Alipur 414. Anand Vihar 471 and Chanakya Puri 447. So these are the top 10 most polluted areas right now in New Delhi after, of course, the Diwali celebrations which went on last week. And to get us the full lowdown on the post-Diwali scene, our reporters are fanned out across Delhi. We have with us Akhil, who is joining us from Anand Vihar, Tanushka from India Gate, and Himanshu from East Delhi. Akhil, coming to you first. You're joining us live from Anand Vihar, and like I just listed, it is one of the most polluted areas in New Delhi with AQI at 471. What's the situation like there, and how are the residents and the people of Anand Vihar coping up?
Well, Rahesha, if you see, since morning we have been witnessing the air quality in the national capital. What we have witnessed that if you go anywhere in the national capital, be it Chandni Chowk's bylane, which is considered to be as a narrow bylanes, or if you go to the Connaught Place and see the high rises over there, or if you go to the Noida or Gurugram or anywhere in the Delhi NCR region, you'll find a thick smog layer, which is not only dusty, but what we have seen that the harmful gas substances which are in the air quality. So right now we are standing at one of the footbridges on near Anand Vihar railway station. Towards my right, if you see, I would like to request my VJ to pan and show you the visual towards my right. Here you can see this is the railway station, and just adjacent to that is the metro station. What we have been witnessing that metros emerging from the smog. Right now, here you see one metro is just crossing this the skyline of Anand Vihar at this point in time. So heavy traffic snarl on the roads of Anand Vihar. Apart from that, if you see, I would like to move a little bit more forward and show you the visual towards my left. Here you see, this is Anand Vihar bus station. So the condition over here is pretty bad. The air quality has basically gone to an abysmal category. What we have seen that during the day it has reached approximately 400, which basically comes under a very poor category. Not only over here in Anand Vihar area. Apart from that, if you go towards the Loni border area, apart from that, if you go towards the Vaishali side, everywhere what we have seen that there's a poor air quality, and people are basically commenting on those points that it's not easy to basically breathe. Right now here you can see just not only because of the air pollution, due to some construction activities as well in this region, what we have seen that the air pollution level has risen. And apart from that, if you see on the political side, what we have been seeing that Aam Aadmi Party has been constantly blaming the BJP. On the other hand, what we have seen the BJP has been constantly blaming the Aam Aadmi Party. While speaking to us at the NDTV, what we have seen, the Manjinder Singh Sirsa, who is the Minister, Environment Minister, has said that for the last 10 years, the Aam Aadmi Party was in power. But what they have done, see what's the condition right now, and with just few months back, we have come to the power, and right, now they have pinned the blame on us.
Right, so right, absolutely. While Delhi has woken up to a thick layer of smog, there's also a war of words which has erupted between the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP. Coming to you, Tanushka, you're joining us live from India Gate. What's the situation like there? And talk to us more about the point which Akhil also made, the war of words erupting, and what the Environment Minister also said a short while ago, and what are the steps that the government now plans to take?
Precisely, Rahesha. We're bringing you visuals right from the heart of the capital, India Gate here. And as you can see, I'm wearing my N95 mask, which is advised for every single person out there, as well as viewers watching. This is the season where the air quality is only going to get worse. Grab 2 has already been imposed. We know about that. And Grab 2 restrictions are in place. Now, of course, even though the Supreme Court had allowed the bursting of green crackers from only 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., as per, what we woke up to this morning, the air quality being in the very poor category across different areas in the capital, one can make out that those time restrictions were not really followed through. And this is something that, the BJP, basically the Delhi government, has also resonated with at this point, that the residents did not follow through with the instructions, with the restrictions, with the purchase of green crackers, be it the timing to be followed within which the bracket was given to burst crackers. Now, it's of course a flip side to put it out directly onto the residents as well. And of course, the whole blame game and verbal war of words with the Aam Aadmi Party, considering that this is what the scenario has been like for Delhi for the past 10 years, and this is only the first year that the BJP's government has come in and is trying to make their own, improvements in this sector at this point. Right now, where I am at India Gate, the AQI is at around 350, and this is what it has been like around 300 to 350 categories since morning. We know Mandir Marg showed 324 just right now. Chandni Chowk is at 350 as of the moment, and Dhyan Chand Stadium stands at 368. Now, all of these are in the red zone, that is the very poor air quality index category. And as you had also mentioned, 36 of 38 stations have been marked in the red zone, recording very poor air quality levels. Now, this
Right.
is something that Delhi is not new to. This is the same story every single year. It goes on repeat. And what is to recluse at this point?
Right, absolutely, Tanushka. We also have with us Himanshu joining us there from East Delhi. Himanshu, both Akhil and Tanushka gave us a lowdown of the situation from Anand Vihar to India Gate. Is it any better there in East Delhi? And how are the residents coping up at this point of time?
Well, of course, the pollution crisis is deepening. What the data that was released for Diwali clearly shows that the pollution crisis is all set to deepen. I have a data which shows that in last 5 years, the level of pollution on the eve of Diwali, during Diwali and post-Diwali has been very alarming in Delhi. Though there was some respite, if you just look at the data for 2021, on the day of Diwali, the AQI in Delhi was 462. It declined last year to 339, but has again, last year, it was 339, and this year again it has spiked to 345. Remember, this data is coming at a time when the weather is changing. Now, we know that when the winter sets in, there are meteorological changes in Delhi's weather, and the wind speed slows down. And that is the reason why pollution goes up. Because pollution experts have told us that every year this has been the pattern. Because the level of pollution the sources of pollution doesn't increase every year. It's the weather change which actually aggravates the pollution crisis. And we know that the weather is changing. Winter is gradually, as it sets in, the wind speed will slow down more and more, and that will spike the pollution crisis.
All right.
Of course, Diwali, the AQI data that has come was expected, but after Diwali, the fact that most of the parts of Delhi remains in the poor to very poor category clearly shows that the challenge on the pollution crisis front is all set to increase in the coming weeks.
Right, absolutely, Himanshu. Thank you, Himanshu, Akhil and Tanushka for getting us the latest from there. And of course, it's an every year affair, and now we really have to see how things change moving forward. And for all of you watching Prime 5 right now on NDTV 24/7, we gave you a lowdown of how the situation is like on the ground with Delhi waking up to toxic smog, a blanket of grey smog there. Let's also now tell you how perhaps you can protect your lungs. How can you safeguard yourself? Number one is avoid stepping out during the time that the AQI is extremely high. Number two, we use masks while stepping out, the N99 mask, so that you can breathe better. Number three, please drink a lot of water and also add antioxidant-rich food into your diet. And lastly, keep the indoor air clean. These are perhaps some of the steps that you can take when Delhi is grappling through toxic smog, which happens every year after Diwali. Well, the political war of words over Delhi pollution is only escalating day after Diwali as capital's air quality dips. BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party are trading barbs and indulging in blame game. Delhi Environment Minister just a short while ago, Manjinder Singh Sirsa, held a fiery press conference where he accused the AAP government in Punjab of forcing the farmers in the state to burn paddy. Sirsa accused the Aam Aadmi Party of appeasement, claiming that AAP was blaming BJP as if Diwali was celebrated by just one party. The Aam Aadmi Party, meanwhile, claims that the BJP government in Delhi is hiding AQI data. The AAP has hit out at the Delhi Chief Minister, saying that she misled the people of Delhi in the name of religion. So clearly, that's a war of words which has erupted between the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP. That's the pollution of politics that we are telling you at this point of time. Take a listen.
दिल्ली की सरकार को ये वो बता पाए, पंजाब के यही आम आदमी पार्टी अरविंद केजरीवाल मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में 10 साल तक रोता रहा और पंजाब के किसानों को गालियां निकालता, कुछ काम नहीं किया। लेकिन अब जब दिल्ली के अंदर मात्र 7 महीनों में पिछले 27 साल की जो बीमारी थी उसको मात्र 7 महीनों में काम करना शुरू किया, तो अब इनके पेट में दर्द हो रही है। और क्या कर रहे हैं ये, जानबूझकर दीपावली धर्म, सनातन धर्म, हिंदू धर्म को बीच में जानबूझकर ला रहे हैं।
जिस सरकार की मुख्यमंत्री AQI भी नहीं बोल सकती हैं, वो IQ, AIQ, QQ पता नहीं क्या बोलती हैं उसको, तो मैं उनसे उम्मीद नहीं करता कि वो यमुना के पोल्यूशन को या एयर पोल्यूशन को समझ सकती हैं। मुझे लगता है कि उनको समझ नहीं है, क्योंकि वो यमुना पे गई और जो डीफोमिंग एजेंट है जिससे झागों को हटाया जाता है, जो पिछले साल तक हमारी सरकार करती थी तो ये कहते थे जहर मिलाया जा रहा है, उसकी बोट्स चलवा के फोटो खिंचवा के कह रही हैं यमुना का पोल्यूशन खत्म हो गया।
जो केंद्र सरकार या दिल्ली सरकार, उनका इसमें कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है। वो तो दीप जला रहे हैं, पब्लिक के अंदर अवेयरनेस लाने के बजाय वो पॉल्यूशन को और बढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। तो सवाल ये है कि ठीक है, धर्म और आस्था सबकी है, लेकिन जान बचेगी तब ना।
हाँ, मैं ये मानता हूं दिल्ली के नागरिकों को सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्देशों का पूर्णतः पालन करना चाहिए था। अगर 10 बजे तक की अनुमति थी तो उसको जिन लोगों ने तोड़कर त्योहार मनाए हैं वो रवैया गैर जिम्मेदाराना है। हम सभी नागरिकों से अपील करते हैं कि जिम्मेदाराना पूर्ण तरीके से कोर्ट के निर्देशों के अनुसार ही अपने त्योहार को मनाएं और हमारे साथ मिलकर, दिल्ली सरकार के साथ मिलकर दिल्ली के ग्रीन कवर को बढ़ाने के लिए, दिल्ली की स्वच्छता को बढ़ाने के लिए हमारा सहयोग करें, ताकि अगली दिवाली हमारे बच्चों को ऐसी परेशानी न झेलनी पड़े।
अरविंद केजरीवाल और अखिलेश यादव को इस बात से चिढ़ है कि दिल्ली और उत्तर प्रदेश के सनातनी ने बिना किसी रोक टोक के दीपावली बनाई। अरविंद केजरीवाल को पटाखों के धुएं की तभी याद आती है जब दिल्ली के अंदर दिल्ली का हिंदू सनातनी बिना रोक टोक के दीपावली बनाता है। दिल्ली और उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता इसको देख चुकी है, इसीलिए तुष्टीकरण करने वाले अखिलेश यादव और अरविंद केजरीवाल, जिनको हिंदुओं द्वारा बनाई गई दीपावली से चिढ़ है, उनको विपक्ष में बैठाई है और आगे भी विपक्ष में बैठाएगी।
All right, well, to talk more on this, we're now being joined by Anumita Roy Chaudhary, Executive Director, Research and Advocacy, CSE. Welcome to NDTV, Ms. Roy Chaudhary. First up, of course, what we're witnessing today, this morning, is something which happens every year. Delhi wakes up to a thick layer of smog, and then the blame game between political parties erupt. My first question to you is, what, according to you, perhaps can be a multifaceted approach to deal with this?
You're absolutely right, because what we saw today morning, that blanket of smog, the first smog of the season. And we have to keep in mind that this time Diwali happened during the warmer part, that it is, the winter has not yet set in. It's still, we don't have that cool and calm condition, and yet that concentrated bursting of crackers that contributed to such severe peaking overnight. And when we have been noticing that over the last few weeks, the pollution levels were already climbing. So since October 10th to yesterday, we had already seen 1.6 times increase. And yesterday, from the afternoon, the levels increased 8 times by the night.
Right.
So it's a massive and a rapid increase that we have seen. And keep in mind that this is the time when the contribution of farm fire to Delhi's air quality is still less than 1 to 2%. So it's all local pollution, and the icing is the cracker.
Right, absolutely, Ms. Roy Chaudhary. Just to the point you added there, the air quality this morning was about 15 times the limit prescribed by the World Health Organization. Clearly, we are breathing a very hazardous level of air quality. I also want to ask you that how does recurring post-Diwali air pollution impact Delhi's overall air quality?
So what happens that the levels that you have seen today, that during Diwali, the overall impact on air quality, as you have seen, that the massive increase in the particulate pollution, the tiny particles in the air have gone up tremendously. And this is happening because of the trapping of the pollution around this time due to the weather conditions and the huge bursting of crackers. So this is an episode. This is a severe pollution episode which is temporary in nature. It is short term, but despite that, what it does, because as long as the levels and peak are so high, its impact on public health is enormous, especially those who are already vulnerable, who already have breathing problems, respiratory conditions, asthmatic, heart conditions. Their symptoms aggravate, and doctors have always told us that how when they are exposed to this kind of choking haze, that it increases emergency hospital admission and the symptoms of the disease gets aggravated. So it is just not the impact on air quality. It is also the impact on public health. So we really have to keep in mind that, so this is an episode, but also keep in mind that the pollution levels in the city is in any case very high because of continuous emissions from vehicles, industry, from waste burning, from construction.
Right.
And these are the systemic issues that we will have to address. That if we do not therefore address them, and every winter we just focus only on taking some emergency action, which are extremely short term, which are incapable of giving us more sustained permanent solution, then we will never be out of this trap. So therefore, this time we seriously hope for that we will begin to see some serious action on ground, which is effectively curbing emissions from vehicles, from industry, power plants, waste burning, construction. And that's where we need to go. Otherwise, this episode that we have seen last night, it is now going to trigger the winter pollution, and then the layers get added.
Right. You clearly mentioned that Diwali this time was, of course, in the warmer part of the month, and you gave us a lowdown on the steps that the government should take. But I also want to seek your inputs on the fact that, do you believe that punitive action is effective, or should the approach shift more towards perhaps educating the public? Because clearly when the green cracker, when it was allowed to burst green crackers, the government said that you will have a stipulated time period, perhaps 2 hours. But we saw Delhiites and people flouting those rules, and people bursting crackers at least till midnight.
Very right. Experience now shows us, and this has been happening year after year, when we have tried to regulate, we have tried to enforce rules around cracker with time limits, with green crackers, with locational and siting advisors, but none of this seemed to be working. And what we have found, that enforcement just doesn't work in this kind of scenario. So what we really require, that while the regulatory terms can be further strengthened to ensure that we are increasingly restraining such activities, but success will come only when we deepen public understanding of what it is doing to our health. When people begin to understand the human story of this short-lived and episodic act, and that what it is doing to our elderly, to our children, to our own health, that is the kind of awareness that needs to empower the change. So somewhere we have to find the balance between the regulatory action and the public awareness strategy. Otherwise, it is going to, because we have already found this, because this is not something happening for the first time. Regulations been around for a very long time in this city, but then we have just not been able to find ways of enforcing it. So clearly, it's a complex issue. It is just not something that we can just switch on, switch off with regulation. But then if you're really setting the terms of regulation, then enforcement mechanism, implementation strategies, institutional framework, all these will also have to be put in place in a very rigorous manner. But bottom line is that if such concentrated burning is happening, green or not green, it is going to contribute to excessive air pollution, which is really going to make us breathless.
Right, absolutely, Ms. Roy Chaudhary, because green crackers are just a cleaner option. They're not perhaps extremely clean. Of course, we've discussed here on what has happened, what should have happened. But at this point of time, the air quality in Delhi is in hazardous level. What perhaps are your suggestions to people watching this show right now? What steps can they take? How can they protect themselves and their lungs, perhaps?
Very simple. One, of course, is if you're talking only about the Diwali occasion, then we will, of course, say that we really need to deepen community action to address and restrain the bursting of crackers. But I think the larger issue here is that are we really prepared for winter? Because the winter, which is just going to get worse now, and the pollution levels are just going to go up and up. And therefore, this time, it is very important to highlight, based on the experience today, that the winter action cannot be cosmetic, cannot only be at emergency level, and cannot only be about sweeping the road and sprinkling water. We really need that action to get real. We want actual emission cuts that are verifiable, monitorable, and where you have a very strong compliance strategy to ensure that the pollution is cut, and just not in the city, but across the region. And that's the blueprint we require. Otherwise, talking only about winter action plan without a report card on what has been the status of implementation to control pollution and what is the ambition level going forward, without that, it's just not going to make a difference.